Hi, Gay. Happy June. So, for better or for worse, there's a lot going on this month. And, I mean a lot. We have two reruns this month for some reason, so we have quite a few reruns for, banners and everything. But we only have, three new cards. I don't even know if I want to call that a small mercy, though, just because of everything happening. But before we talk about cards and everything, let's go over this month's schedule and then what's changed meta-wise. In the beginning of the month, Cozy Close Deuce is dropping alongside reruns of his previous birthday banners. We're also getting a rerun of Arcane Combat Drills with Crowley, with a rerun of Crowley's banner. Absolutely insane, but okay. In the middle of the month is a rerun of Fairy Gala Operation Elusive Illusion. Gala, Couture, Leona, and Jamil will also be rerunning during this time, in addition to Gala, Couture, Ortho, and Ace. So we got two banners, which is a little much, but I guess good for people who missed Leona or Jamil prior to this. We'll be closing out Pride Month with Kalim's Cozy Close card and his older birthday cards. There's going to be a joint exam. And finally, we're ending the month with Equestrian Sebek. So yeah, we have a lot going on. But thankfully, when it comes to meta changes, there's really nothing because it's almost all reruns. SR and R averages are staying the same because we're not getting any new SR or R cards. For SSRs, the average HP has gone down by 0.2 points, and attack has also gone down by 0.6 points, so nothing major. The all cards averages have a bit more difference. The HP average is down 10.3 points, and the attack just went up 3.2 points. So overall, nothing super duper insane. I guess HP is a little insane, but still. Every single tier list I have, yet again, stays the same this month. And none of the cards that are rerunning are on these lists, so I can't even say keep your eyes peeled for whoever, because, yeah, they're just not there. So that kind of sucks, but it does keep this section short, so let's go ahead and get into the cards coming out this month. To start with the basics, Deuce is an SSR card. He's a balance unit, has a max HP of 12,158, and a max attack of 5,931. And once the level 120 update comes to EN, his actual max stats are 12,935 for HP and 6,310 for attack. On the spell side of things, he's got Aqua Wave, Void Shot 2, which later becomes Zero Ray 2, and Lee Shot 2 in that order. So normally for my exam rankings, it just takes into account spells, and for most cards that's enough. For this card, he has skills that don't really work with my ranking system, so this is one of the few exceptions that doesn't follow my normal rules. For exams, I'd give him a D for Flora exams, A for Fire, and A for Water. This card has Water Boost and Flora Boost, which is why he's a ranking exception. On Spell 1 at level 1, he has a minor Water Boost to allies for 1 turn. At level 5, it's Modest, and at level 10, it maxes out at Major. On Spell 3, he starts with a minor Flora Boost to allies for 1 turn. It scales the exact same way as the Water Boost. Deuce has Rook as his duo magic partner, and his buddy bonus is a modest power boost. Other buddies include Jade with a minor power boost, and Ortho who gives him a minor HP boost. To Groovy Deuce, you're gonna have to meet some requirements first. This card needs to be power level 40 and vignette level 3. Once those conditions are met, you can Groovy him with 5 Spade Candy. For limit breaking this card, you'll need 0 to 12 SSR Awakening perfumes. The more copies pulled, the less perfume used. Each uncap costs 3 perfume, so if you only get 1 copy of him, you'll need 12 perfume. If you pull more than 1 copy, thankfully you don't need that much. Uncapping is great and you should do it, but another way to raise a card's max levels is by friendship levels. So if you fully uncap a card and it's now level 100, if you build friendship levels, your card can now be built up to level 110. Downside is that friendship levels are a slog to get through and it's much harder to speedrun that. Other things like spell levels could theoretically be done in a day. Friendship level is much harder to do that with. You could theoretically also speedrun friendship levels, but it's going to be way more difficult to do than you would with uncapping and everything. It is insanely helpful and it's a part of building you shouldn't skip, even though it is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. To max out each spell, they individually need 351 notepads, 253 textbooks, 111 grimoires, and 318,000 Thalmarks. Spell 1 requires blue items, Spell 2 white, and Spell 3 green. You're also going to be spending a lot of Thalmarks as well, and in total, it's going to be 954,000 Thalmarks. I think this card was made specifically to vex me. When it comes to what to build first, after Spell 2 obviously, I don't really know. Water Boost and Flora Boost are both insanely nice skills, so honestly, just pick whichever one you need first. This is definitely a situation where you need to look at what you might be missing skills-wise, and then use Deuce to fill that gap. Okay, so admittedly, I kinda went crazy on finding alternatives to this Deuce, but in my defense, there's a lot of ground I have to cover since he has two fairly rare skills. I basically split these up into water boost alts and flora boost alts. Let's start with the water boost ones. He's balanced, has a water spell 1 and void spell 2, Rook as a duo magic partner, Jade as a buddy, and water boost. Yeah, we're starting off strong. Although this Riddle doesn't have flora boost, if you're mostly eyeing Deuce for his water boost and you don't get him, Riddle is going to be a really nice alternative to him. And he's also our only SSR rec, so let's go on to the budget cards. Next up is Seaside Suit Riddle. He has a water spell 1, Jade as a buddy, and water boost. Overall super solid, although he does lack void and flora spells. Zoomsitter Ace is our budget option. He has a water spell 1, leash shot 2, and water boost. His biggest downsides are being attack and having no shared buddies, but still, great option. Between him and Riddle, I think Riddle is my favorite. Although Ace is closer to Deuce when it comes to spells, Riddle does have a shared buddy, which means more buddy bonuses in a team. Let's move on to the flora boost recommendations. My first option is Ivory Cliff Reggie. Truth be told, he's not as solid of a replacement as Riddle was, but he's still fairly good. He's got Leash Shot 2, Jade as a buddy, flora boost, and a water spell. That being said, the biggest downside to this Reggie, in my opinion, is his spells. Although Leash Shot 2 matches, he's flora water and not water void. I'd recommend this Reggie if you're more wanting a Jade buddy and flora boost. The next option is a card that isn't out for EN yet and will take a while to come out, but I figured I'd put him in anyway. La Babonniere Floyd is balanced, has a void spell in his spell 2 slot, Ortho is a buddy, and flora boost. He also has flora and water spells, but they're spells 1 and 3 respectively against Deuce's spell 3 and 1. I would say between Ruggy and Floyd, I like this Floyd more, but that being said, I don't feel great recommending him because not only is he in the next birthday cycle, but we haven't even gotten Cozy Clothes Floyd yet, so it's going to be over a year before this card gets added to EN, and that's kind of an insane wait. First up in the budget options section is Suitor Suit Lilia. He has water and flora spells and flora boost. If you want an SR card with flora boost, this is quite literally your only option. And while he isn't terrible, he does have some major cons. He doesn't have void spells, his elements are jumbled up compared to Deuce, and he has no shared buddies. Our rare option is Nightmare Suit Azul. He has Leash Shot 2 and Flora Boost. That's it. No shared buddies, no water or void spells, not balance. He's literally the only Flora Boost rare card in the game as of now. Between Lilia and Azul, if you need a budget Flora Boost card, I would go with Azul, but only because he's mono Flora. I think Lilia is closer to Deuce than Azul is, but presumably if you're looking at Deuce for Flora Boost, you're probably using him in a Flora team, and Azul being mono Flora would be nice there, and dare I say it, probably a bit better than Lilia. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do think Lilia is closer, but Azul is mono Flora, which is really nice. This Deuce gets the Mari seal of approval. Although his stats are just okay, his skills are super nice. Those in combination with his spells make him a very versatile unit. You can use him in water teams, which I do think he is a little bit more suited for, or flora teams when it comes to exams, so he's going to be a unit that's pretty nice for exams because of how flexible he is. I've covered Crowley before in the February 2025 card roundup video, so if you want a more thorough breakdown of him, link is in the description and the iCard, but I'll go over some brief pros and cons. Pros: he's a healer, he has void spells so he's flexible for team placement, he has HP regeneration, if you use Grim a lot, you have duo magic, that's a thing. If you have Cruel, this is currently your only choice for a duo magic partner, and he has spell 1 that can hit twice. Cons: that healing is on a spell 3, so he's a bit of a higher investment card, he has no elemental advantages, and a spell 3 only hits twice if you have it fully maxed out, so that's even more of an investment. Take this and what I've said in the past, and hopefully that helps you decide on whether or not to pull. Gala, Couture, Leona, and Jamil are rerunning this month, although I'm gonna be honest, I'm just gonna focus on Leona. Leona's pros are he has all elements, he has Flora Boost, he's got an A for water exams, and he's within the top 50 highest HP and SSRs. Cons are his attack's a little low, but he has damage boost, and honestly, he's a defense card, so I'm not really worried about that. This card was one of my staples for years. My friend Satsuki had this Leona as her support card, and I used him a lot in the early years of the game. I have him on EN, but admittedly, I don't really use him all that much anymore, but he has gotten me through some things. Next on the recap docket is Gala Couture Ortho, who's rerunning with Ace as the SR, which we aren't going to talk about. Some pros for Ortho are that he has all elements and he's got HP regeneration, and that's kind of it. He doesn't rank in anything stats-wise. I have this Ortho, but admittedly, I don't really use him. But then again, I don't really have any teams set up for using Ortho, so yeah, it's more of a me problem than a him problem. To start with the basics, Kalim is an SSR card. He's a balanced unit, has a max HP of 11,618, and a max attack of 6,208. Once the level 120 update comes to the English servers, his max HP will be 12,360, and his attack will be 6,605. On the spell side of things, he's got Flame Blast, Leaf Shot 2, which becomes Force Strike 2, and Void Shot 2 in that order. For exams, I'd give him a B for Flora exams, D for Fire, and C for Water. This card has debuff removal, damage cut, and cosmic boost. On spell 1 at level 1, he has a debuff removal for allies. At level 5, he gets a minor damage cut to foes for 1 turn, and at level 10, there's nothing. On spell 3, he starts out with a minor cosmic boost to allies for 1 turn. At level 5, it's modest, and at level 10, it's major. Kalim has Sebek as his dual magic partner, and his buddy bonus is a modest HP boost. Other buddies include Deuce with a minor power boost, and Silver who gives him a minor HP boost. To groovy Kalim, you're gonna have to meet some requirements first. The card needs to be power level 40 and vignette level 3. Once those conditions are met, you can groovy him with 5 headdress candy. For limit breaking this card, you'll need 0 to 12 SSR Awakening Perfumes. How many items you'll have to use depends on how many copies of him you end up pulling. The more copies pulled, the less perfume used. Uncapping is great and you should do it, but another way to raise a card's max levels is by friendship levels. So if you fully uncap a card and it's now level 100, if you build friendship levels, your card can now be built up to level 110, or level 120 depending on when this card comes out. The biggest downside is that friendship levels are a slog to get through and it's much harder to speedrun that. Other things like spell levels could theoretically be done in a day. Friendship level is much harder to do that with. It's not impossible, but very difficult. Even though friendship levels can be kind of mess sometimes, it's insanely helpful and it's a part of building you shouldn't skip, even though, like I said, it is kind of meh, to be honest. To max out each spell, they individually need 351 notepads, 253 textbooks, 111 grimoires, and 318,000 thou marks. Spell 1 requires red items, spell 2 green, and spell 3 white. You're also going to be spending a lot of thou marks as well, and in total, it's going to cost 954,000 thou marks. When it comes to what spell to build first, I would go with spell 1. Debuff removal is rare and a very nice skill to have, and also, it's a lesser investment than spell 3. I love cosmic boost, don't get me wrong, but debuff removal is an easier investment. Not to mention, debuff removal can benefit any unit, whereas cosmic boost really can't. So let's chat about alternatives if you don't get Cozy Clothes Kalim, or if you're still on the fence or maybe just even curious if there's a similar card to him. Our first option is Birthday Boy Kalim. They have the same spells, Silver as a buddy, and damage cut. The biggest flaw with the other Kalim is that he doesn't have debuff removal or cosmic boost, which is honestly a huge bummer. But still, if you're looking at Cozy Clothes Kalim for spells, Birthday Boy Kalim is a solid alternative. Our next option is Cerberus Gear Ortho. He has Void Shot 2, Silver as a buddy, and damage cut. He also has a fire spell, although it's a spell 2 instead of spell 1. The biggest con to this Ortho is that he's defense, has no flora spell, and his other skills are not the same. He's still a good unit, however, he does have a lot of drawbacks. Our first budget option is Seaside Suit Malleus. He has debuff removal, a void spell, and a fire spell. The downsides to this card are he has no damage cut or cosmic boost, no shared buddies, and no flora spell. Also, he's attack instead of balance, but compared to everything else, that doesn't seem like a massive deal. If you want a budget option with debuff removal, Malleus is really your only choice. I wouldn't say he's a terrible budget version of Kalim, but I will admit he does have quite a few downsides. But still, it could be worse. At least he has 2 of the 3 elements Kalim does. We have 2 rare options, and the first one is Nightmare Suit Epple. He has a flora spell, a fire spell, and debuff removal. He's kind of in the same boat as Malleus, where his spells aren't exactly the same as Kalim's, and also no shared buddies. But still, if you need a budget debuff removal card, Epple is a great option because he's free, so hopefully you already have him. Our other budget option is Outward Door Leona. He's balanced and has Sebek as a buddy. He has a Void Spell 1 and Fire Spell 2, which doesn't line up with Kalim, but Kalim does have Fire and Void spells. The biggest cons to this Leona, in my opinion, are his skills. He has no shared skills with Kalim. If you're looking for a unit with those elements or something, Leona would be an okay choice. I don't really have a favorite budget option. I think all of them have pretty big downsides, but finding alternatives for this Kalim were actually fairly difficult. They all have their own ups and downs, so when it comes to which one to prioritize for a team in case you don't get Kalim, I'll leave that up to you. Overall, I like this Kalim. I like that he has debuff removal and cosmic boost. I generally try to avoid suggesting teams because it really depends on what cards you use and what you have. But I think if you're a Diasomnia fan, this Kalim would be pretty good for you. If you have Dorm Malleus, Kalim would be a great buddy for him because of that cosmic boost. If you use Sebek and Silver a lot, you have some buddy bonuses going on there. But yeah, I like this Kalim, and I like his skills. Sebek is an SSR attack unit. For the level 110 cap, his max HP is 9,831, and his max attack is 7,117. Once EN gets the level 120 update though, his actual max stats are 10,449 for HP, and 7,578 for attack. His spell 1 is Flame Blast, his spell 2 is Leash Shot 2 and Leader 4 Strike 2, and his spell 3 is Void Shot 2. When it comes to exams, I'd give this card a B for Flora exams, D for Fire, and C for Water. For skills, he's got debuff removal, damage boost, and power boost. On spell 1 at level 1, he has a debuff removal to allies. At level 5, he gets a minor power boost to caster for 1 turn. Neither of these grow, so there's nothing on level 10. His damage boost does grow though. On spell 3, he starts with a minor damage boost to caster for 1 turn. At level 5, it's modest, and at level 10, it's major. His dual magic partner is Silver, who gives him a modest power boost. His other buddies are Ruggy and Rook, both with a minor HP boost. So this card is a vignette-less one, so it's got exclusive furniture instead of a story. They unlock with a vignette level. Level 1 gives you his outfit on a mannequin, level 2 a special frame, and level 3 is Sebek's training set, as translated by the GG Wikia. I don't remember what that item is though, so I can't give any other information on it. Alright, so building. In order to groovy Sebek, you'll need to get him to power level 40 and vignette level 3. Grooving costs 5 lightning candy. As for uncapping, he'll need 0 to 12 SSR awakening perfumes. Each uncap costs 3 perfumes, so the more copies you pull, you'll be using 3 less perfume. Friendship levels are another aspect of building. Raising friendship levels increases max levels, so I would definitely invest in it. Just know it's not really something you can speedrun, but still, while you're building this card, make sure to invite them over to your guest room all the time and give them gifts based on fave attributes, all that stuff. That's gonna help things go faster, and once you max out friendship levels, this card will go from max level 100 to max level 110. Or 120, again depending on when you're watching this video. Now we got spells. Each spell needs 351 notepads, 253 textbooks, 111 grimoires, and 318,000 Thalmarks. Spell 1 needs these in red items, Spell 2 needs green, and Spell 3 needs white. In total, that's going to cost 954,000 Thalmarks. When it comes to what spell to build after Spell 2, it feels like a do whatever you have items for kind of situation. Sebi has debuff removal right off the bat, so thankfully you don't need to build for that immediately. Damage boost and power boost are common skills, but also, they're ones that while helpful, I don't see an urgency in building for them. So yeah, I don't know, just build what you have the items for. So if you don't manage to get Equestrian Club Sebek, what are some alternative units? My first pick is another Sebek card, Platinum Jacket Sebek. They're both attack, have the same spells, Rook is a buddy, power boost, and damage boost. Platinum Jacket Sebi doesn't have debuff removal, which is the biggest con about him, but still, he's a solid alt for Clubwear Sebi. Next up is Cozy Clothes Kalim. They have the same spells, Silver is a buddy, and debuff removal. Everything else is different though, but if you're mostly wanting Sebek for his debuff removal, this Kalim is a great alternative. Our first budget option is Seaside Suit Malleus. They're both attack, have fire and void spells, Rook as a buddy, debuff removal, and power boost. The biggest issue with Malleus, in my opinion, is he's Void Fire instead of Fire Flora. He might share elements with Sebek, but to be fair, Sebek doesn't have Void right off the bat like Malleus does. He's still a great budget option, but just know the elements are kind of wonky. And finally, we have Portwear Floyd. He's attack, Fire Flora, has Ruggy as a buddy, and damage boost. He doesn't have debuff removal or power boost, but still, he's a solid pared down option. That being said, I think we all know who my favorite budget option is, and it's Malleus. His spells do annoy me, I'm not gonna lie about that, but I think if you need a budget debuff removal card to replace Club or Sebek, Malleus is the best option you got. Overall, this Sebek is alright. I like his debuff removal and that his attack is pretty high. Those are the two standouts for me personally. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say about him. And that's everything we have when it comes to cards in June. We've got a lot going on, so make sure to manage your funds wisely, whether it's gem funds or actual money. Before we go, I'd like to give a quick shout out and thank you to my ladyfingers in waiting who support me and allow me to continue to do this. A massive thank you and telepathic snacky treat to Michgal2189, Omimi, Visa, Orion, Dorcas, Lady Lunarine, Richter32, Yungumo, Crabjail, Yoza the Kiseki, and Dorcas 2. Thank you guys, and I'm Kiryu. I really appreciate the support. If you'd like to join the Ladyfingers in Waiting and get early access to my videos, consider becoming a channel member. Twitch subs get special sub-only streams, and if they're part of the special Discord, they also get early video access, but like, you have to be in the Discord to get that. It's not just like an automatic thing. If you made it this far, thank you too. If you plan on doing any polls, good luck. Once again, happy Pride to all my fellow queer peeps out there, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye bye!